Hello everybody. This is the notes for section 1.5, scatter plots and least squares lines. All right, scatter plot, just a way to show graph of some data. And it's really just a bunch of points. We're used to graphing equations, which are usually connected with lines or smooth curves. This is just a bunch of data, X and Y points, a whole bunch of points. Sometimes the data follows a pattern. When it does that, there's a terminology for it. It's called correlation. And you can see in the picture here on the left, you have this positive correlation. Basically, the data is following a linear pattern with a positive slope. Okay, it's not a perfect line, but there is a trend to it. The negative correlation, same idea. There's a trend to this data. In general, these points are decreasing, so there's a negative slope if there was a line drawn in there. When you have points that are just scattered all over the place, there is no reliable correlation. The data does not follow any kind of trend. They're just random points, essentially. So, hit pause, copy these things down. Okay. So when there is a correlation with the data, we want a way to say it is a very good correlation. Maybe there's not any correlation. Maybe it's just so-so. And what we have is this thing called a correlation coefficient. And we use the lowercase r for that value. And that number tells you how good or bad the data fits, or the line fits to the data. Now, a 1 for a correlation coefficient basically means perfect. The positive and negative, it really just defines the slope of the data. So with this first one here on the left, r equals -1, you'll notice every single point is right on that line. Okay, that is a perfect fit. That line perfectly matches every single data point. That's why you have this correlation of a 1. Now, again, the slope of this line is a negative slope, which is why we have a -1. Okay, so the negative or positive just tells you about the slope. The closer the number is to 1, the better the correlation is between the line and the actual data points. So on the right side, you got a +1. Again, every single point is on the line, so it's a perfect match. When the points are just kind of spread out here, there is no correlation. Data doesn't really fit very well. You could draw lines anywhere, and it's no good. Okay, there's just no trend in the information that's being presented. Now, the stuff that we're going to do, I mean, we're not going to be doing this super scientific stuff that we need to have these results, and they need to be great. We're going to be looking at some patterns. So, when you go out and actually start doing this stuff, here in the green, if it's going to be really useful, that correlation coefficient, it's got to be so close to 1. If it's anything less or further away from 1 than that 0.999 and so on, it's not really good data. Even 0.98. If in the real life, when you really need that information, that's not very good numbers. There is a connection to it, but you can't make a lot of good predictions from it. And that's kind of the thing that we're going to be doing. These lines of best fit, they make trends. Let me go back a page. Looking here at the positive correlation graph. If we were to draw in this line of best fit, which is just a line that tries to match the data as best as possible. If we're going to use this line of best fit, what we're trying to do is make predictions. You have all these data points that are information that's been collected, and you want to use that to say, okay, if I keep on going, this is what it's going to be like, or maybe at this time we'll have this number. So if you are going to make those kind of predictions, you need this to be really, really close to 1 so that this line is useful and it's accurate in predicting what the information is doing. Okay, so I don't want to go through this process because not all of you have calculators at home, but at least copy these steps down. You copy these steps down. When you come into class tomorrow, everybody will grab a calculator, and we'll just go through entering in data, hitting the right button so that we can get the graph, so that we can get the line of best fit, talk about the correlation coefficient and if it's a good match or not. And so that's it for this section. Have a good night.